for this video, we're just going to make a little heart in a plant pot, a little heart tree. An ideal thing for Valentine's. So I've just mixed up some red, as you can see. I've dyed my hands completely red. Now my icing's gone a little bit dry because I've needed it for so long, so what I'm going to do is just rub in a little bit of Trex with it, just to try and stop it cracking as much. Okay, now I've got more there than what I actually need. So for this, what we're going to do, and you don't have to use red, you can use a pink, or use whatever colour you like really. We're just going to make the heart first. So I like to do it freehand, but you can just use a cutter. If you're using a cutter, roll it out nice and thick. Okay, now what I tend to do is make a circle, then I'll pinch it a little bit at the bottom. Then at the top, I'm going to use just the bottom end of my paintbrush and just push in so you're getting a bit of a dint at the top. Now sometimes it takes a couple of attempts to make sure you've got it central. Okay, so just play around with that shape a little bit till you've got it to the heart shape that you want. You can have it quite round, quite bubbly, you can have it quite a long heart, whichever you prefer for it. Okay, so when you've done that, just make sure it is as you want it. What I'm going to do is take a cocktail stick. If you're doing it bigger, use something bigger than a cocktail stick, and we're just going to push it into the bottom of the heart. You don't want to push it too far up that it comes out of the top. Now sometimes the spike will go through, so what I do is just snap the spike off the end, and I'll just put that back in the hole, not pushing it too far, just pinching it at the bottom to make sure it retains its heart shape. Okay, then when you've done that, we're just going to leave that to the side to set a little bit. Now you can just use normal sugar paste and just give it a little bit longer to dry. If you're doing it in a bit of a rush and you need it to set quickly, then just use a bit of the flour and modelling paste with it, and that'll just set it a little bit harder. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just make the centre of our plant pot. Now I'm just using a pretty plain colour here, which will end up dyed red because of my hands, but this bit won't be seen, so you can use it in whatever colour you want. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to roll it slightly on the board. Now you want it, and you probably won't be able to tell very much, so that one end is slightly thicker than the other. Okay, and what I'm going to do is, because I don't want it too tall, I'm just going to cut a little bit off the bottom and just have a look how tall that is against what I want. So that'll do, and this will be inside my little plant pot. Okay, so then when you've done that, just put that to one side. You're going to take a colour that's the colour of a plant pot, a bit of a terracotta colour or a light brown, whatever colour you prefer to mix it. Okay, and you're just going to roll that out reasonably thin, not too thin, but it wants to be long enough that it will go all the way around your plant pot. So just check that will do. Okay, so I'm just going to trim a straight edge across the bottom. I'm just going to move some of my icing sugar so that I get too much on the other side of it. Then I'm going to just wet it a little bit, not too much, just a little bit on the inside like that. I'm going to cut one edge straight like that, and I'm going to put my plant pot in with the slightly narrower end to the bottom, and I'm just going to roll it around like that, and then I'm just going to trim off the extra at the back and just seal it like that. Okay, I'm going to stand it up so that I know it's even at the bottom. Then I'm going to turn it this way, and what I'm going to do is just cut into it, and I don't know if you can see what I'm doing very well here, so that it's about level with the piece you've got inside. Okay, like that. Just neaten it off a little bit. Most of it will be covered. Okay, then we're going to make a rim for around the top of our plant pot. So again, just roll out a length of your fondant again. Again, you don't want it too thick, and it has to be long enough to go all the way around. And I've got some white fondant stuck in the middle of mine, so I'll just pick that up. Try and get it sort of even thickness as you go along. Now, the lip of our plant pot, you can have it quite thick, quite thin, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to go about this size, so about 1 centimetre-ish on mine. I'm just going to cut a straight edge that'll go to the back. Turn it over. I'm just going to wet it a little bit on the back. Try not to get too much water on the back of my board. Then you're going to pop it around your plant pot, around the top edge. You can make it slightly higher than the lip that you've just cut, but don't make it too much higher. And then just trim it at the back and remove any extra. Just push it to there at the back. Just have a look and check it looks even enough for what you want. Okay, so that's your little plant pot done. So what we're going to do now is just add a few leaves to it. Okay, so you want to mix some green fondant. Now, you can either use a cutter for the leaves or you can do it freehand. If you're doing it freehand, I would roll it into a ball and then lengthen it a little bit because you want quite long leaves. And then literally with your knife, just gently put a mark down the centre of your leaves, and then you'd put them so that they hang over the edge of your plant pot. But I've got a cutter for this one. Now this cutter, you can use different cutters, but this is just one that I found in my box that was part of doing a daffodil. But that one is ideal for this. So I just dusted the board so it doesn't stick, and then I'll roll it out. Again, you don't want it too thin and you don't want it too thick. Not much thinner than what you've rolled it when you did your outside of your plant pot. Okay. So I'm just going to cut out 2 of these. So you can see there's 2 of those cut out. And what I'm going to do is just put a light line in the middle of each of those with my knife. You can use a modelling tool if you prefer. Just careful not to press in too hard that you cut the leaf in half. And again, you can spend more time on yours than I have in mine. Now, if your plant pot does go dip down a little bit in the middle like mine does, just take a bit of your green icing and roll it into a bit of a sausage shape, a long sausage. And what I'm going to do is just wet in the middle of my plant pot a little bit, and I'm just going to create a little loop with that, which I'm just going to put in the middle of my plant pot so that when I put the leaves in, they don't disappear too far down. And I'm just going to wet that a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is put 1 set of leaves on. Now, if you put 1 leaf so that it covers your seam at the back, then that just helps to hide that little thing, or seam even, the little line you've got where you join it on the back. Okay. And again, put the other one the other way around. If you want your leaves bigger, that's fine, just make them a little bit bigger. I'm just going to push it in a little bit with my paintbrush so it dips a little bit, and I'm going to move the leaves around to whereabouts I want them to go. So then you've got your little leaves on your plant pot like that. So then all you've got left to do is put your heart in on its little stick. I would advise you leave this for a few hours, if not to the next day, just to harden a little bit so that when you stick your cocktail stick in, it doesn't move around too much. But just for now, I'll show you by sticking that in. Try and stick it in upright. If you stick it in at an angle, you might find that it gradually droops to one way or to one side or backwards. Okay, so you'll see that's what it looks like if you don't get fluff stuck to it like I have done. Okay, and then you can just stick that on a cake. So get yourself a little cake or whatever it is you want to stick it on. Just pop it on the top with a bit of icing, and there you go. That's it done. I don't want to lift it up too much in case it drops backwards, but that's it then done. Thank you for watching. please subscribe to my channel if you like these videos.